A lot of times when woodworkers come and visit the shop, they've got questions for me. But in this case, Duane Johnson from Hammond is here, and I've got some questions for him. Duane has been making models, and you like mostly making model trains, right, Duane?
The model steam engine is my favorite to make, yes.
And you worked for the railroad, right?
I worked for the railroad 46 years.
And you've been on track ever since?
Since 1990, I've been on track.
Now, here's the thing that I'm amazed by. Duane will look at a picture, right?
Aye.
And you're not using a plan for this cool stuff you're making. So how do you, from the picture, how do you get the dimensions and the scale and all the stuff you need? Because the models are amazing. They look very accurate.
Well, the big boy I built took 4 years to build, but that was off the plan. I had the book of the original building, and I cut it down to 1/32, and it's still over 5 feet long.
Wow.
But the 261 engine, the Milwaukee 261, I built that just looking at the engine itself. It was sitting in Burlington. And what picture I could get, I built that in a month.
So then how do you know the size of the real thing, and then from the picture, you're scaling that down to what you're building in the shop in order to keep everything proportionate?
That is right. Once I got the dimension of the drive wheels, I think I built them all the same size, but most of them are the same size.
The drive wheels?
The drive wheels, yes.
And why steam engines in particular? What is it about the steam engines that really?
There's more action to the steam engine. The diesel engine nowadays don't impress people.
Because you've got that arm, the steam engine's got the arm going on the drive wheels, right?
They got the action, and they got the smoke and the noise. Yeah.
And it looks like the finish on your models is really good, and we talked about this earlier. You're hand painting these, right?
Yeah.
And so for people who want to do this at home, you got tips? Is it about paint selection? Is it about being patient? How do you get such a nice paint job on these?
That's a good question. Because I just painted out of a black paint can.
Like paint that somebody would buy at a hardware store or from a model store, like testers?
Just out of a hardware store. The letters up here on the big boy, the wife painted them. And on the back of the caboose was 25,000 gallons. And she had to use one piece of the brush and paint between heartbeats to get the letter that small.
That's amazing. Very patient.
She did a very beautiful job on the sides. And
what kind of wood do you use for the ones that are going to be painted?
Anything I can get a hold of.
Okay, so you're not worried about it specifically being a lot of people will use poplar because it paints well, but you're not, just whatever you got.
The big boy, I wondered how long a piece I could turn in the shopsmith. So I opened it up, and that's what I turned the boiler for, out of a treated 4x4.
Really?
And when I got that done, then I figured I'd build the big boy.
Then in addition to the smaller models, you're also doing some backyard stuff. You've got some trains that are like playground sized trains, right?
Yes. Up by New Richmond on Highway 65. I've got the playground equipment that he requested I build.
What scale are those?
Them I had a plan for, so I have no idea what the scale is.
But you were thinking each of those cars weighs about 500 pounds.
Yeah.
They're pretty good size.
With the treated lumber, yes, that's what they all go by. But they're holding up real good. And they're about 12 years old.
And you were doing all of this work on a Shopsmith, right, a Mark V?
On a Mark V Shopsmith, yeah.
Well, this is cool stuff, and very glad Duane stopped in, and you got to see some of the behind-the-scenes video stuff. Any smart comments from you for me, or what can I do for you?
I just want to thank you, George, for inviting me.
Happy to have you. Like, it's great having people stop in, and we kind of never know when it's going to happen, and I'm very thrilled that Duane stopped in today.